All right, now I'm going to try one more time to go to Phil Edholm, who does the NMRA local clubs and divisions segment on our show. Phil, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. This is an exciting little segment we do. We do it every other week. And the intent here is to talk to people about how they're doing things in their local community, how they're driving mentoring, um, and try to get those things identified that people are doing that are unique and different. So this week, I actually have a very interesting guest. And that guest is actually our friend Pat. Um, and Pat Rivard got an interesting award from his I think region. And I'm gonna have to ask him first to talk a little bit about that, and then talk about the things he's been actively engaged in and with his division and the NMRA and locally. So, Pat, Pat, tell us a little bit about the award that you got recently, and then we can talk a little bit about other areas.
Thanks, Phil and Jim. You can hear me all right? No problem?
Absolutely.
The award is the NMRA's Presidents Award for service to the division. Now, I didn't expect this award, but it was quite a surprise. And I got a letter along with the NMRA from our Gordie Robinson, MMR, president of the association. I was quite flabbergasted and very, very proud to receive this award. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who are a whole lot better than I am to do this and have this award given to them. But anyway, it's an appreciation for unselfish sharing of time and talent and your many contributions to the Niagara Frontier region. Your work has immeasurably helped the NMRA and the hobby grow. We thank you, Gordie Robinson.
Oh, that's super. Congratulations. And obviously a recognition. So just out of curiosity, what's the frontier in Niagara Frontier for? Is that because you're on the frontier of the United States and it's kind of the wild, wild west, or?
Not quite, but anyway, if you go on the NMRA site, you'll get a good idea of what region it is. We border a good part of the area in southwestern Ontario, which is Windsor, on the border of Detroit, Michigan. And we have 8 divisions in our NFR. And it's also noted that there are only 17 divisions in the whole globe. So that's a pretty good chunk of divisions.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about kind of what your division and your role is within the division. So
my role actually is the secretary for our WD division, and it's quite challenging, I must admit, especially if you don't know a lot about computers nowadays. Anyway, the big thing is that we try to keep in touch with our members by having a meeting at least twice every 2 months. Every 2 months we have a meeting, and then we try to record the meeting, and we also invite our members to join us on Zoom, or we sometimes have a get together on a different area of the division. Like we have tailgate get-togethers, especially during the pandemic. That's something we did do, is have a tailgate get-togethers where we brought our models and brought some stuff that we might want to sell, encourage them to come and join us with masks, of course. And then we also had, at the same time, visited some of the areas, sites that pertain to the 1 foot gauge. It was very interesting. And also, our AGM is held every May. That's the annual general meeting where we take it and vote for new members of the board or directors. And it's quite a challenge to keep up with all your members, especially when you're in the 200 range.
Yep, that's good. That's very good. So sounds like you do a lot of kind of different activities, but I think that 6 times a year is really interesting. One of the things when you look at sales and kind of interactions, that 6 to 8 times per year is kind of the necessary number to keep in the front of people's minds. So, I think four is maybe not enough. Six, every couple of months is probably a good goal. Uh, so what kind of things do you do in the division to actively encourage mentoring?
Well,
Um,
sorry, Jen, Phil. The biggest thing that we do is try to have encourage to have appointments with our have like a convention or a show or something of that nature, where we go to it with our modules. We have a module that's been built just for that purpose, to mentor to the kids that come around and want to play on the module. We give them a control, and it's DCC and HO. It can be quite interesting sometimes. That's the
Yep.
best part of it. But it gets that thing in their mind where they remember it when they get older, and they say, you know what, that wasn't so bad. I think I'll get into that hobby. And that's how we get a lot of them started.
Yep. Do you do mentoring, clinic kind of mentoring or
Yes.
build alongs or those kind of things for members to kind of encourage them? One of the things we find is a lot of the members we're getting now kind of have gotten into the hobby by buying trains and collecting, and have not really built up those modeling skills. And I sometimes feel intimidated. Are there things you do to give them an on-ramp to learn skills, et cetera?
Yes, at a lot of the get-togethers that we do have every 2 months, we will have maybe sometimes a clinic. I held one on the trees, as you see in the background. We had one of those clinics, and a lot of the members found it quite interesting to be able to build their own tree and take it home in such a
Yep.
short period of time, in different scales. We also have those that come and show us how to build small kits. We get some from ITLA, which is laser art system that sells a lot of models and kits. We've done that on Zoom a lot. We build them, and then we would show them on our Zoom meetings that we had during the pandemic, because there was no other way for us to get together and teach each other to do stuff. That was a big thing. During our pandemic, we lost members, of course, and I'm sure a lot of divisions did. And a lot of people just gave up. They just said, we'll wait till it's all over, then we'll have our meetings back. But
Right.
You got to keep going, otherwise you lose your members. It's bad if you don't keep it going.
One of the things we've found in the Coast Division is, even as we've started to get back to physical meetings and trying to get to that point of 7 or 8 meetings per year, same kind of thought process. The folks that attend the virtual meetings sometimes aren't the same people that come to the physical meetings, and there's been a real strong ask to continue virtual meetups for folks, for members, because I think it meets different needs for different groups of members. So that's a great insight.
Yes, it is. One thing that we did do is that we encouraged to have an AP chair. Roger Chrysler, we got him to take over the AP chair for our division and in the NFR. And it was a long time that we had nobody. So it was 3 years we had nobody who was able to go out and give instruction or judge the models or whatever. And that was one of the things we did do during that time. We have a very active superintendent who managed to find the gentleman. It was very difficult. Nobody wants to volunteer anymore. They find it's a lot of work sometimes, as you well know. But if you don't put something into it, you're not going to get it back out of it. That's for sure.
Yep. So how do you get volunteers involved? How do you find and convince folks that, it is challenging, I think, today?
Yeah. To get a volunteer, it's people are in a hobby. Like in our club, we have quite a number of guys that are very good at what they do, but it's trying to get them to volunteer to do something, even being part of your directors in the club. So the best thing to do is encourage them to do it, and then once they start, they find out it isn't as bad as you thought it was. You know, it gets a little easier as you go. And I've been through all the tables of of our club, and I didn't really start getting active in the WOD division for at least 8 years ago. That's when I started getting involved. So if you don't try, you're not going to get anything out of it.
So what things do you do for recruiting? That's an area I think, and it's interesting. We're starting to have some conversations in the Pacific Coast region. Generally, we're going to have a board meeting, and one of the areas we're really talking about is, there seems to be anecdotal data that says that there are at least 5 to 10 times as many model railroaders out there as NMRA members. How do you recruit them from an NMRA perspective, and also from a club perspective, since you're kind of doing both? But from an NMRA perspective, are you doing anything to recruit folks locally?
Well, yes, we are. With the help of the NMRA, we offered them choices, better choice membership for the NMRA, which if you're a member of the NMRA, you're a life member of the WOD division, because it's all combined together. It's very, very hard to get somebody interested unless they're willing to try. And it's up to you to, encourage them to try. If they need help, help them. Sometimes that alone will do it. But it is not easy. That's for sure. I know we're all having that problem in anything that we do.
Yep. No, it's a challenge to get people to join up and be part of an organization. So, if someone came and said, tell us the 3 things that you think your division is doing that are, it's doing well, or that are different that other people should think about. What are 3 things that you would say are learnings that your division could give to other divisions?
First of all, you got to have a good membership in the board or directors, because if you don't have an active superintendent, that really pushes, you're not going to get anybody interested, because you just lose interest. We have a very active superintendent, Paul Hurley, in our division, and he's always out there pushing new shows or whatever we're going to be doing. Also starting kits and taking pictures of them and sending them out there, and having, all kinds of activities. He likes to push it by sending out a Zoom blast, an e-blast to all the members, gives them a big e-blast on their internet, or on their emails, and kind of inviting them, making it interesting. And that means a lot. Sometimes you'll get extra members. We didn't really lose too many in all that time. We've only lost a few.
That's interesting. Well, any other kind of final comments, Pat, that you think are interesting in terms of your experiences, and how is it, one of the interesting questions always to ask is, how has membership in the NMRA been good from your perspective as both an individual and a modeler?
Membership in the NMRA has given us a chance to offer to those who want to join, by offering them a good price. I think that membership was very expensive for a while, and they kind of give us a discount on it for a while, and it encouraged them to join. And if you don't offer something to them to make them join, it doesn't get anywhere, because they'll never find out what it's all about. That's the one big thing. And also making sure you keep in touch with your membership. That is the really big thing. The NMRA tries to strive that keeping in touch with your membership keeps interested by doing all kinds of activities. And, and one other thing I want to bring up is with our AP, Roger started up the AP. We're dividing up in our area only, in the WOD division. We're dividing up different districts within a 100-mile radius that are going to have their own judges for the AP award, which kind of cuts down the backlog and gives a person a chance to do it.
Yep.
Because if you got somebody that's taking care of 900-mile district, there's just no way you're going to get your models out there judged, even on
Absolutely.
Zoom. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So
that's
just,
what we've
just,
tried to do.
just aside, I wanted to show this because I think this is important. This is actually from the NMRA site. This is actually the promotions. Those of you not aware of this, you can join the NMRA if you're not a previous member for 9 months for just $20. Now, you don't think you get a physical magazine, you get the digital issues of the magazine. But, I think it's a very interesting thing. We've been talking about, how do you really promote that when you're in a train show, getting people to do, get in, but $20 to join, especially if you have an event coming up that's a really cool event, you can almost convince people it's worth the $20 just to come to the event. So, I think there's an on-ramp thing here we need to be aware of. And as far as I can tell, not a lot of people are aware that this is an option you can use to recruit new members. So excellent point, Patrick, that I think the NMRA is beginning to think about that. I think we've still got to think through kind of some of the messaging, but it's a great point. Well, anyway, Pat, I'd really like to thank you for taking the time and talking to us today. And we will look forward to seeing you in the future and seeing more awards as you take on more responsibility. Thanks.
Thank you.
And with that, Jim, back to you.